Hey there, wizards. How's it going? Harry Potter is a huge universe full of details that go way beyond the books.
Movies, games, texts, and digital books also make up the entire lore of this universe, making everything even more interesting.
Today, I picked out some details that only really hardcore fans know, and the challenge is, are you one of them? Here's what we'll do. At the end of this episode, leave your score in the comments. Sound good? There are 50 fun facts in total, so if you get them all right, you put 50 out of 50. If not, just put the number you got right. Your score, okay? And remember, if you don't know the answer, that's okay. It's part of the fun, and you'll still learn something from this episode. There's no point in saying you got them all right just to pretend, because you'd only be fooling yourself, okay? So be honest.
So, let's get to the 50 Harry Potter facts that I doubt you knew.
The first caretaker of Hogwarts was appointed by the 4 founders at the time, and his name was Hunkerton Humboldt.
All cauldrons sold to wizards have a spell that makes them lighter.
After all, they are made of iron or tin and naturally would be very heavy, so they come with this spell to make them lighter. Sir Cadogan's wand. You know that really crazy knight who replaces the fat lady at the entrance to the Gryffindor common room after she's attacked by Sirius? So, that guy's wand was made with a troll whisker core. And out of these 3, did you know any of them? So let's keep going.
During the Battle of Hogwarts, the former Care of Magical Creatures professor, Sylvanus Cattleburn, who was living in Hogsmeade at the time, kept throwing blindworms at the Death Eaters who passed by.
Ministry of Magic employees in disguise, undercover, stay there on standby at the beginning and end of the Hogwarts school year at King's Cross Station. King's Cross to avoid any exposure of magic, to solve any problems that wizards might have with muggles.
So, if they need to alter someone's memory, or need to divert attention from a situation, they do it.
In the wizarding world, there are seers called onomancers, and they exist solely to predict the future of a child who hasn't even been born yet, based on the name chosen by the parents. So, the parents go there and choose the name that this onomancer suggests.
If a man and a woman who suffer from lycanthropy are in their lupine form, that is, as werewolves, during the full moon, and they mate, this will result in a litter of wolves.
The woman will get pregnant, but a human baby won't be born. Instead, a litter of wolves will be born. And this litter of wolves, not werewolves, they are not violent like werewolves are, and they don't go around attacking to infect other people. They are just wolves that are very, very, very intelligent, above average. In fact, one of these litters was released into the Forbidden Forest with Dumbledore's permission. This led to a legend that there were wolves that were also werewolves in the Forbidden Forest. A myth, of course, that was not denied by either the teachers or the staff at Hogwarts, because it helped keep some students away. Peeves is the only poltergeist that has a physical form. Yeah, it's weird, isn't it? Although there are poltergeists in the game Hogwarts Legacy, it is canon that the only poltergeist with a physical form is Peeves.
He can turn invisible, but the other poltergeists are actually invisible. They don't have a physical form, only Peeves does.
The Hogwarts Express was a muggle train that the wizards stole to use as transportation for wizards to get to the school and start their school year. Did you know that? There are other wizarding platforms, not just 9 3/4. For example, there's platform 7 1/2, which is for trains that connect wizarding villages around Europe. The name of the Polyjuice potion comes from the name of a god called Polydeuces, which in English is polyjuice, right? So Polydeuces and Polyjuice sound similar, and that's a very well thought out reference, because Polydeuces, or Pollux as it's translated in some languages, had a twin brother.
And the Polyjuice potion actually makes you become a twin of someone else, right? Because you take on the form of another person, so there are 2 identical people. So it's a really clever reference. Did you know that?
Werewolves don't like to attack muggles, because the taste of their flesh is different. The first flying brooms date back to 932 AD. Professor Quirrell's name comes from squirrel, which means squirrel, precisely because he seems cute and defenseless. It also alludes to the word quiver, which means to tremble. This relates to the character's nervousness.
Meanwhile, his first name, Quirinus, comes from a Roman god who had two faces.
And Quirrell had exactly two faces when he had Voldemort on the back of his head. This is also a symbolic illusion, since two faces are used to symbolize someone revealing a hidden side, right? So, he really had two faces, both literally and symbolically. And now, I want to know what your accuracy rate is so far, huh?
Initially, in the drafts of Harry Potter and the Philosopher's Stone, Voldemort was going to be a dwarf with red eyes. The Wand of Salazar Slytherin.
It can be controlled with Parseltongue and even be put to sleep. That's because it's made from pieces of basilisk horn, the same basilisk that was killed in the Chamber of Secrets by Harry Potter. To close a wound caused by a werewolf, you need a mixture of silver powder and dittany. That way, the wound heals. Otherwise, the person will die from bleeding too much. This doesn't cure lycanthropy. If the person was bitten by the werewolf, they will be infected. But to close the wound, you need this. The first recorded animagus in the world lived in ancient Greece, and his name was Falco Isolon. He could transform into a falcon. At the magic school in Japan, Mahoto Koro, students go to and from home every day. It's not a boarding school, unlike most other schools. The character Gwenog Jones, who is a beater for the Holyhead Harpies team and was a student of Slughorn, introduced by him in Half-Blood Prince, actually appeared long before that book was published. The book Half-Blood Prince was released in 2005 while the character appeared in 1998.
In the Daily Prophet newsletter, which were types of texts that J.K. Rowling used to publish for the Harry Potter fan club in the United Kingdom.
So she is introduced for the first time in this newsletter. Dolores Umbridge's wand was made of birch, and the magical core was dragon heartstring.
And it was an incredible 20 centimeters long, an unusually short wand. And short wands are usually associated with people of very questionable character and nature. The Minister for Magic, Evangeline Orpington, who held the position from 1849 to 1855, was a personal friend of Queen Victoria, the Muggle Queen, and it's believed that she used magic illegally to intervene in the Crimean War.
The Minister for Magic, who held the position for the longest time, was 147 years old. He didn't hold the position for 147 years, that was his age. His name was Ferris Sparving.
Minerva McGonagall worked in the Department of Magical Law Enforcement at the Ministry of Magic before becoming a teacher at Hogwarts.
Minerva McGonagall's brother Robert was killed during the First Wizarding War. Minerva McGonagall was once married. That's right, she is a widow.
She was married to a wizard named Elphinstone Urquhart, and the marriage didn't last long because he passed away soon after they got married. Remus Lupin's mother was a muggle. Her name was Hope Howell. The Skele-Grow potion, used to make bones grow, was invented by Harry's ancestor, Linford of Stingcombe, who was known as the Potterer, which is where the name Potter came from. The Golden Snitch is worth 150 points, because even before the position of Seeker and the Golden Snitch existed, in Quidditch, Barbaros Braid, who was the head of the Wizards' Council at the time, showed up at a Quidditch match and released a golden snidget into the game.
And he offered a prize of 150 galleons to whoever caught that bird.
After that, the bird was introduced into the games and the position of Seeker came to exist. But then, the birds were always killed when they were caught.
And then, they almost went extinct. So Elfrida Clegg, who was another head of the council, created a sanctuary for the golden snidgets and banned their use in Quidditch games.
And then, that's when the golden snitch appeared. The golden snitch, which was invented by Bowman Wright who lived in Godric's Hollow, simply replaced the golden snidget.
And the position of Seeker came to exist in place of the position of Chaser.
And the 150 points symbolize the amount of 150 galleons offered by the first guy who threw the golden snidget in the middle of the match.
Before Hagrid became the gamekeeper of Hogwarts, the person who held that position was a wizard named Og.
Gringotts Bank was founded by a goblin named Gringotts in the year 1474.
The witch who founded the Leaky Cauldron Bar is named Daisy Dotheride, and it was founded in the 1500s.
In other words, the Leaky Cauldron is older than Charing Cross Road itself.
And when the street was established, they began to build there. The bar stayed there as the original address number of Diagon Alley to hide the entrance to the Wizarding Street from Muggles. Nearly Headless Nick was sentenced to death by decapitation for using magic on a noblewoman. Her name was Lady Grieve, and he tried to fix her teeth, but he was a rather mediocre wizard. he ended up making her teeth grow like fangs, uncontrollably.
As a result, he was accused of witchcraft, arrested, his wand taken, and sentenced to death.
But when he was about to be beheaded, the axe was dull and the executioner had to strike him 45 times before he died. And that's why his head was left hanging by just a tendon. Dolores Umbridge's father was an employee at the Ministry of Magic, but she was ashamed of him.
So, when she started to rise in her career at the ministry, she forced him into retirement and gave him a small pension so he wouldn't show up.
Her mother was a muggle, and her brother was a squib with whom she had no further contact after she was 15 years old. Trelawney, the divination teacher, got married young but ended up separating because she didn't want to take her husband's last name, which was Heiglbottom. She didn't want to give up the name Trelawney because it was a very important name, coming from her great-great-grandmother, the great seer Cassandra Trelawney.
Gilderoy Lockhart had two sisters, and both were squibs. The sorting hat originally belonged to Godric Gryffindor, and it was an ordinary hat that was enchanted by the founders so it could sort people into houses after they were no longer at Hogwarts. Newt Scamander's mother was a breeder of luxury hippogriffs.
The inventor of the sneakoscope, that spinning top that warns of danger which Harry receives as a gift in Prisoner of Azkaban, was Edgar Stroger. Every flavor beans were created by a rather disgusting accident. Bertie Bott, who made sweets, was cooking when an old sock fell into his recipe, making the candy taste like an old sock. Then he had a brilliant idea to make every flavor beans, with flavors like Stinky Feet, Booger, and every flavor you can imagine.
And with that, he became very rich and gained worldwide fame because it's a candy much loved by wizard children.
When Quidditch first appeared, there weren't any bludgers, but rather stones, which were enchanted pieces of stone that would fly and hit the opponents. The first model in the Nimbus broomstick line was the Nimbus 1000, launched in 1967, and it could fly up to 160 km/h. The creator of the Nimbus was Devlin Whitehorn. The record for the fastest golden snitch catch in a Quidditch match belongs to Roderick Plumpton, who did it in 3.5 seconds into the game. Before Azkaban became a prison, it was the home of a dark wizard named Acristus, who lured Muggle sailors to torture them. And so, from so much anguish, so much sadness, despair, and suffering, the Dementors appeared there, who were later used after Acristus died, and the location was revealed, and the Ministry of Magic began using it as a prison called Azkaban. Hogsmeade, the only entirely wizarding village in Great Britain, was founded by a Hufflepuff.
Angus of Woodcroft was fleeing from Muggle persecution when he settled in the place that is now Hogsmeade, and he built what is now the Three Broomsticks. That was his house.
The first Muggle-born Minister for Magic was elected in 1962. His name was Nob Leach, and when he was elected, there were several pure-blood protests, and many of them left the positions they held in the ministry.
And look, the Ministry of Magic was formally established in 1760. The first Muggle-born was only elected in 1962.
Do you think prejudice only exists in the Muggle world? The basilisk in the Chamber of Secrets was a female, since the males had a single red feather on their heads. The broom model that came after the Firebolt was the Firebolt Supreme, which was used in the 2014 Quidditch World Cup by most of the teams. And the broom that rivaled the Firebolt Supreme was the Thunderbolt 7, the sweet fizzing Whizbees, which was once used as a password for Dumbledore's office, makes whoever eats it float a few centimeters off the ground. And it's made with billywig stings. That's the creature that, when it stings someone, makes the person float. And last but not least, the wands of Harry, Ron, Hermione, and Draco are made from woods based on the Celtic calendar. Each wood matches exactly the birth period of the characters. Harry's wand wood is holly, and in the Celtic calendar, this wood rules from July 8th to August 4th, and Harry was born on July 31st. Hermione's wand was made of vinewood.
And in the Celtic calendar, this wood rules from September 2nd to 29th. Hermione's birthday is on September 19th. Ron's wand was made of ash wood.
And in the Celtic calendar, this wood rules from February 18th to March 17th. Ron was born on March 1st. Draco's wand was made of hawthorn, and this wood in the Celtic calendar rules from May 13th to June 9th. Draco was born on June 5th. In the wizarding world, wands originated from the Celtic people.
So this tree calendar is very important, and it's brilliant that these characters' wands match exactly with their tree sign. But now tell me, I want to know how many of these facts you knew. How many did you get right? Write it down below.
I want to see if while I was talking, you were thinking, knew it, didn't know, knew it, didn't know. All right? I want to know, did you get 50 out of 50? Was it too easy? Should I make it harder next time? Should we do one with 100? You tell me. Leave it down below.
All this information, all of it, is official, okay? Every single one. Absolutely all of them. Either they came from the books themselves, or they came from digital books published by Pottermore, or from extra text by J.K. Rowling.
Or from official sources. Entirely official. Okay? Nothing here is made up, guessing, or anything like that. Not fanfic, nothing like that. Tell me your score and if you like this video format. If so, leave a like, comment below, and share with friends who claim to be big Harry Potter fans to see if they know it all. And of course, just because you don't know doesn't mean you're not a fan. It's not like that. No one measures a fan's love by knowledge. This is just for fun. I'll see you in the next episode of The Leaky Cauldron. Until then, mischief managed.